Let's move on to level 32. The parabola zeros. Now, the zeros are where it crosses the x-axis. I want to find my h and k. H is -1, and the k is going to be -5. I'm just going to plug this -1 into this equation and see that we get -5 as an answer. Is equal to 4 times, open bracket, the x plus 1, which gives us 0, and then 0 squared is still 0, and then if we subtract 5, we get -5 squared minus 5, 1 -5 is our h and k right here. The a is positive, so it's opening upwards. I'm just going to see what happens when the x is equal to 0. We have -1. 0, -1 would be right there. Logically, since it's a problem and this is the vertex, it's going to open up, so our other point would be -2, -1. If I put in -2, look what happens. We get -1. If we put in -3, we get 11. -3, 11. And if we put in +1, we would also get 11. 1 and 11. This is what the parabola looks like, and here's the two zeros. The first zero is -1 point something, and the second zero is 0 point something. I don't know what that point something is. We have to work that out. To work it out, we are going to set the y values to 0 and then solve for x. All right, so I'm going to write out the equation, setting the y to 0, or the f of x to 0, is equal to 4 times x plus 1 squared minus 5. Add 5 to both sides. Then I want to get rid of the 4. That's multiplying the bracket. I'm going to divide both sides by 4. That will give us, I want to get rid of this square, so I'm going to take the square root of both sides. That's going to give me the square root of 5 over the square root of 4, which gives us root 5. And then the square root of 4 is 2. I need to put a plus and minus in front of this because we took the square root of both sides, is equal to x plus 1. Then I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides.
Minus 1
gives us -1.
plus or minus root 5 over 2 is equal to x.
Let's figure out our x1. It's going to be -1 minus, because it's plus or minus, so I'm going to start with the minus, the square root of 5. 5 to the power of 0.5. That's how you do the square root divided by 2. That is the x1. That gives us -2.1108. And then our x2, instead of having a minus here, it has a plus. Fill that down. Let's change this to a plus. That's our x1 and our x2. Let's press answer to see if we are right. And that's how we find the zeros. Let's do another one. The vertex is at 1, -1. 1, -1 right there. Let's figure out some other points. Put in my x is 1, and then put in this equation to make sure we get -1 out, is equal to -14 times x minus 1 squared minus 1. I put x instead of a1. We get -1. 1, -1. Let's see what happens when our x value is 0. We have -5.6. How about -1? So I'm looking for a whole number. -2. We get -43. This is opening down. Our vertex is below the x-axis. That means we're not going to have any zeros. If I went to -2 and then down to -43, right here, if I went to 4, we also have -43. That is what our parabola looks like. Because it's opening down, there are no zeros. All right, none. Let's do one more. The vertex is -411, -411, and it is opening up. Once again, there are not going to be any zeros. -411. It's opening up. We have -4 is equal to 9 over 2 times the x value plus 4 squared plus 11. Okay, we have -411. How about -5? No, 15.5, so -6 is 29. -6 would be at 29. What is -2? Let's do -3. -2 is 29. You get a parabola that looks like this. You don't have to draw the whole parabola. All you have to do is figure out where the vertex is. Is it opening up? Is it opening down? If it's above the x-axis and it's opening up, you don't have any zeros. But if it's above the x-axis and it's opening down, then you're in luck. This one is above the x-axis and it's opening down, so we're going to have a pair of zeros. The vertex is -6.5, but it's opening down because the a is negative. Let's go and find some points. I'm going to put in -6 is equal to -10 divided by 3 times the x value plus 6 squared plus 5. Okay, and we get 5 as expected. Then if I put in something like negative 5, we get a decimal, negative 4, decimal, negative 3, we get negative 25. Let's plot that. Negative 3, negative 25 is right here. I'm going to go the opposite direction. I went from negative 6 to negative 3. If I went on the other end, we would have negative 9. When x is negative 9, we get a y value of negative 29, negative 25. Our parabola looks like this. We have two zeros. We need to find the two zeros. I'm setting the y to 0, or the f of x to 0, is equal to negative 10 over 3 times x plus 6 all squared plus 5. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Then I want to get rid of the negative 10 thirds. That's multiplying the x plus 6. I'm going to divide both sides by 10 thirds. And remember, dividing by a fraction is multiplying by the reciprocal. I end up with negative 5 times negative 3 all over 10 is equal to x plus 6 all squared. The 5 is going to cancel with the 10. That's going to give me 2, and that's going to get a negative times negative is a positive. We have 3 over 2 is equal to x plus 6 all squared. If I take the square root of both sides, I'm going to end up with plus or minus the square root of 3 over 2 is equal to x plus 6. If I subtract 6 from both sides, I end up with negative 6 plus or minus root 3 over 2 is equal to x. And there's my solution. I want to figure out, I'm going to do negative 6 minus root 3 over 2. 3 over 2 is 1.5. Is equal to 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Negative 6 minus square root. I'm going to write 1.5 minus 1.5 to the power of 0.5. I need an equals in front of that. Negative 5, negative 6, negative 7.22. That makes sense. Then to get the positive version of that, I'm just going to fill this down so I have the same equation. I'm just going to change this minus to a plus, because remember it's negative 6 plus or minus. We did the minus first, and then we do the plus. We have negative 4.77. That makes sense looking at that number. Those are our two zeros. Then we press answer to see if we are correct. And that's it for level 32. Have a good day.